Hey, what's up, people? How's it going? All right, today I'm going to talk about that news article that came out in the paper about the Vandal Squad, New York City graffiti Vandal Squad, and they're now going into the tunnels and trying the subway MTA tunnels where the trains ride. They're climbing around down there trying to catch graffiti writers that are writing on trains. Now, that's something that's been going on throughout my whole life. I mean, those are always, it's been a lot easier lately, but I'm actually happy to hear that the police are doing that. 10 points. Honestly, I think they should lock up all them motherfuckers. Hey, I'll tell you something, man. Those New York City subway tunnels, to me, that shit is like church, yeah. For real. That is like sacred ground, man. And I've seen with my own eyes, not in recent years, but like just toys, like graffiti writing people that you know, they get the idea, they get a can of spray paint, and they come across some idea about, oh wow, I'm gonna be a graffiti writer. They go run around these train tunnels and they just write wherever the fuck they want. And some of them actually hung in there and became somewhat known in the graffiti world. And later on, when questioned about that, even from me, when they went over people like Is the Wiz or Satch, Quick, any BT, yeah, BT that passed away, I've seen people go over him in the tunnels, OE, P13, like they rag these people. And then, you know what they say to me? I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know. I was young then and this and that. Let me tell you something. I was young once, but I knew. I fucking knew that you don't do that. Like that's the number one thing you learn is you don't go over someone unless you want problems with them or you don't like the way something's going on with them or you just pick them out of a hat to start fucking with them. But you definitely fucking know. And that's that whole me, look at me that's going on nowadays in the world. And I just see it over and over, and I've heard every single fucking excuse there is. But I'm sorry, I do not accept those excuses. I look at it like this. If when I was young, I'm down there writing graffiti in the one tunnel or something like that, very young, or anywhere. The 60s I can't go for because it's outdoors. There's not much to write on unless you're going to write on wood, like tracks and shit, other than the trains. But yeah, in the tunnels, if I really very rarely in those days wrote in the tunnel, like there was really kind of no reason for it. Like I would write on the trains and, especially when dealing with Tishman, the layup under Central Park. When we were going there, there was absolutely no fucking graffiti down there all at all. It was just us going down there, riding on trains and stealing shit from the construction site, like jackhammers, air compressors, drills, shit like that, you know? Circular saws, all types of shit we'd steal from the places, generators. But we wouldn't write graffiti on it. That's what's known as blowing up the spot. Now, if I was in City Hall or something like that, then yeah, I'll catch a tag because that's an old layup. But going back to Tishman under Central Park, there was no graffiti down there at all until Sash 357, Gary Pinedo, Sash Despate, from the IRTs back in the days. They brought people down there and then more people. And before you knew it, the walls were destroyed. Towards the end, I caught tags down there. JJ did. There was no reason to try and keep it nice anymore at that point. I mean, the place was lit up like my room. It wasn't dark. It was beautiful. And people fuck shit up. People like J.A. Omni, shit like that. A lot of different people who just like did stupid shit down there. Smith Sane and fucked everything up. But me going back to writing graffiti in tunnels that are destroyed, like City Hall or Grant layup is another good example. I remember being in the escape hatch to the tracks with Nash and them and catching tags. And I'd actually be like, fuck, there's nowhere to write. Like, that's honestly what I said. Like, yo, because people have been going down there since the 70s and shit. You hear Grant. Yeah, I think is the Wiz when he's filmed there. He's actually in Grant. But I'm like, oh, fucking nowhere to write. Like, and I literally would go up and around and look and find a little spot and I'd squeeze my RD tag in it. Yeah. Like, and that's kind of early on too. Like, even like when I was at my younger stages of writing graffiti, It's just the number one thing you learn. Like the first thing you learn is here, this is a can of spray paint. Right? You got your can of spray paint. Okay. You spray the paint on the wall. Rule number one. Rule number two, you don't go over someone. That's like the second fucking thing you do. So it's all bullshit. And I say lock them all up. Fuck them, man. Straight up and down. Now, I love the fucking train movement. I love what's going on in the train movement with them smashing trains. And like I said, I believe if people didn't think so much about getting nice pictures of their shit and they actually started living the life of a graffiti writer like me and my comrades, you would definitely get further. You would definitely get further with that graffiti game. Believe me, if you ran around doing a bunch of fill-ins and smashing insides and shit like that, you would get up and it would run. It would run now. If you went right and hard about it, it would fucking run. Everyone wants to do a whole car and take pictures of it and stuff like that. And when you do that, it's easy to just get rid of that, like just buff that train. But when you really start getting people out there just trying to get their name up, then that becomes a problem for the MTA. Right now, the people that do them trains, although there is a few people I know, just from seeing it, no conversations have ever taken place with me and anyone that's rode on the trains in recent years. I'm just saying from what I know and styles and from what I see and hear, yeah, there's a couple of people from New York, but the like 99.9% of the motherfuckers are from out of America, even not even in the U.S. of A. So of course they just want to get a picture of a whole car on the mecca of graffiti, the subway system, this that, and they take their little pictures of this shit and they go back to their country and done. But as far as it goes with like actually, I don't think they could be able to take care of that shit right now. My personal opinion, I'm not telling anyone to do it. If anything, if you're listening to this, I actually just said I believe the cops should lock you motherfuckers up. Hey, hey, I'm allowed to dream, man. I'm allowed to fucking dream. Yeah. And now, as far as it goes with me smashing tunnels with lace, just doing tag after tag after tag, well, way back. Now I see people go over that like nothing. Some of these people I've actually talked to in my life before they did that, and they were just starting. Um, oh yeah, well, I respect the old school. I respect this, and they're all bullshit. You look at them now; they're doing fucking fill-ins right over like nice tags and shit, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just disgusting. It's heartbreaking. It really is. And it's yeah, I wish that they would do everything they can to protect those tunnels, protect the artwork, the vandalism that is down there now from that era of time when that shit meant something to someone. You got me? That is important. That shit's like church to me, man. For real, that's sacred fucking holy ground down there, man. And shit I see, it's unbelievable. I mean, I don't bitch about me and myself, but it happens to me too. And people go over me, and I don't give a fuck. I'm still alive. I go down there tomorrow if I wanted to, and I could fix it. Or I could just keep going and just smash all their shit if I wanted to. But I really don't want to. Sorry, I really don't feel that need anymore in my life. Give me back a couple of years, 10 years or so, I'd end you, bro. I would fucking end all you motherfuckers straight up, right off the rip. I'd end you. Y'all ain't built like that. And it's like a lot of people, oh, protect the graffiti culture and this and that. Like the graffiti culture that I was involved with back in my days, it can't be redone. Like that ship has sailed. So I'm not saying that. I mean, there's not even enough children being born in this city for that to happen. I mean, you got to realize, like, when I talk about that park down there, John Jay Park, hanging out with all these people, it'd be like 40 or 50 of us, man. Literally, you go down to that park now, there's like two kids sitting there on their phone or something. For real, it's a whole different fucking ballgame. It's like fucking Child of Man or whatever the hell that movie was. Remember when a child hasn't been born for like 20 years or something, and then finally one's born? Yeah, it's crazy shit. And I mean, that also brings me to this whole thing about these mafia guys, the ones that tell on people and rat on people. Oh, yeah, I'm doing it for the kids. I don't want the kids. There are no fucking kids no more. There's no more kids sitting on a park bench scheming on shit. It don't exist, man. It does not. It fucking exist. Like these mafia guys, I get a kick out of 'em. What are you going to do? Teach them how to not fucking be a loan shark or not take bets like betting and gambling and all that shit. You got lotto, you got scratch offs. There's no need for it. Now, maybe if someone wants to get money from someone and pay them back in the future, loan sharking. Now, that could probably still stand due to the fact that people always need money and not everyone's credit is as good as it should be to get money like that. But nowadays, even that is kind of gone. Like the best thing you could be is poor and fucking in debt and in credit, like with credit fraud and or like, well, not credit fraud, but not pay your bills. Yeah, it's people like that. They pander to you. They take care of you. They help you. So that, like, yeah, there's no reason. Like, it's just these people come on with their little thing of trying to act like they're Mr. Good or something when they tell on people and they do their whole mafia channel shit. I don't know. That's my personal opinion. Like, what are you going to tell kids? Oh, the streets, they don't love you. The streets don't love you. And this, I get a kick out of that shit every fucking time. Because I just raised a child. My son's going to be 22 years old like next week or something like that. For real. Like next week or something, my son is going to be 22 years old. He's currently 21 years old. And I remember, of course, you have to supervise your child when he's in the park. And he had a little crew of friends, about 10, 15 kids, and they whittled down to like two or three or something like that. He had other kids when he went to high school and stuff like that, went on about it. But, kids really ain't hanging out like that no more. It's just, yeah, it's crazy to even think that way. It's almost like you're doing kids more harm than good. Now, as far the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people say, "What is my message to kids?" Like, I don't have a fucking message to kids. I am not sitting here trying to tell kids not to do something or tell anyone what to do. It's not what I'm here for. I'm just simply sitting here telling you what I did and what my friends did, how we approach things, whether we were right or whether we were wrong. This is what happened. That's all I'm fucking doing. I am not saying I'm fucking innocent. I have never once said, oh, I'm innocent and this and that. I might not have started a lot of that beef, but believe you fucking me, I am far from innocent, man. Yo, straight up. That's all I can say about that. And I am not trying to steer anyone into writing graffiti or to not write graffiti. If it was honestly up to me, I would tell every single human being to not write graffiti. Stop it. Stop it. It's not what you think. Don't do it. The only reason I would persuade people to not do it is so shit that matters from back in the 80s will last. And back in the 70s, it will last. Because these assholes are just taking shit out, man, like fucking like maniacs, bro. Like there's really nothing of worthiness anymore in them tunnels. Like them shits used to be filled like up near the one tunnel. Oh man, it's disgusting, man. I don't even want to start naming these people. They get all mad at me and start crossing my shit out or something. But yo, it's just fucking disgusting, man. It is. Oh man, yo, it's bad. It is fucking heartbreaking. So, in my opinion to that, lock the motherfuckers up. Fuck 'em. Straight up. My opinion. And I'm allowed to have that. All right. Now, with that said, also, you guys were asking me about, oh, wow, Matty the horse, Rob. You mentioned Matty the horse and this and that. Yeah, I knew Matty the horse. I never knew him. Let's get this straight. Robert Dyer, never knew him as Matty the horse. I knew him as Mr. Ionello. I've known him probably since the 70s into the 80s, up until maybe mid 80s or something like that. I lived across the street from a bar and Italian restaurant called a Vagabando. In this a Vagabando, they had bocce where you could play bocce. I don't know much about the game. I worked in that place as a coat check. When people came in, they'd give me their coat, and I'd give them a little thing with a number on it. And when they want to leave, they give me that little number, and I'd give them back their coat in the winter. I've explained this in my last video. And that's why you guys are like, oh, wow, Matty the horse. You can't just breeze over Matty the horse. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. Ionello was a very nice man, very stern, very serious. He walked funny. He walked like John Wayne. Yeah. Now, when I met him, compared to, I looked him up a little bit before coming on here. Uh, when I met him, he had like salt and pepper colored hair. He still had some black in his hair. And he walked like John Wayne. He wobbled, almost like his kneecaps didn't bend, like Frankenstein or something. That's how he walked. And I don't know why. And now, this whole thing about him being the horse, I was living in my mother's house. I was with my brother and my mother. We were living in the same apartment, 344 East 62nd Street, apartment number 13, right across the street from a Vagabondo. I'd see those guys come in and out of Vagabondo quite often. Like I said, I even was doing coat checking there. You should see Vincent the Chin Gigante going with him actually going in and out. A lot of different people would go in and out of that place to eat, have wine and stuff like that. So yeah, I saw a lot of those guys. And he was a very friendly man. I don't ever remember him cursing or anything like that. He was a very stern man. I don't remember him doing anything bad. I knew nothing about no horse or no shit like that until 1988. I believe 88, 89. Yeah, right before my marriage and around when John JJ died, around that period of time, I remember coming home, and my mother telling me that Mr. Iannello had gotten locked up, that he's in trouble. They're calling him Maddi the horse. No, it's a true story. My mother told me this. And my brother said, "Why do you think they called him the horse? You think it's because of the way he walked? Because he literally walked almost like, if you could picture, like his legs were far apart, and where his groin would be, there was like a big space, almost like how they draw SpongeBob SquarePants. This is my theory behind it. I'm not saying he had skinny legs or anything like that. I got nothing fucking bad to say about that man. All I'm saying is when he walked, he kind of wobbled. Let me see if I can. He'd kind of go like this. Instead of being like this, he would go like this. And he would go from side to side. And my brother said, "What do you think? Why do you think they call him a horse?" And this and that. I said, "I don't know. Maybe his face. He kind of looks like a horse, like the way his eyes are close and his nose." My brother's like, no, it's the way he walks. He walks like a horse. And my mother was like, it's not, my mother talked with a very deep Irish accent. All you people out there that remember Celine Dyer, please leave a comment. Did that woman talk with an Irish brogue or did that woman talk with an Irish brogue? She'd be like, be Jesus. So anyway, she was like, no, God, jeez, no. He owns horses. Yeah, Mr. Leno got a lot of money. He owns horses. That's why they call him the horse. So, still to this day, I don't know why they call him the fucking horse. But yeah, well, I got a kick out of that. I remember I was saying it's because of his face, like he looks like a horse. Yeah, that's probably because he looks like a horse. I remember my brother saying the way he walks, because he literally walks like he has a horse between his legs, like how someone would be mounted on a horse. You know, yeah, that's how he looked. Like he literally looked like he was sitting on a horse or a motorcycle when he was walking or when he was standing. I don't know. Like I said, I knew him since he was probably as old as I am now. Maybe, well, I'm 55 now. I probably first met him. He was probably in his 60s or something like that. Yeah, it's going back, well, like 82, 83, 84. I remember all the time I'd see him. By 80, yeah, when I got caught with lace, that would be about 86. But I don't, when I had to work in Vagabondo, but when they stole the Cadillac, when John stole the Cadillac from a Vagabondo. And I didn't know it was a Vagabondo. It was on my side of the street. It wasn't on the Vagabondo side of the street, the car that was parked. It was a Cadillac. It was like a goldish brown color. All right, Matty the horse. That's about all I could say about him. Great guy, man. Good dude. Yeah. He was always around my neighborhood and on my block. Bunch of people. You had Ernie Grillo also was another guy that would come around. He used to hang out with Sergio a lot. And Sergio is the person that killed the Riggs, Mr. Riggs, that owned the malt shop and the newspaper stand, which was Yes. Um, Yes, KRTPOW from Queens. It was his father that this guy Sergio killed. And I used to see him hang out. Well, he hanged out more like Ernie Grillo and them. And he got killed shortly after killing Mr. Riggs. All right. I don't want to get into too much about that block and the Vagabondo because my brother is currently in prison and he doesn't go before the parole board till 2039 because of a crime that was committed on that block. And there was a lot of people that were witnesses to what happened. So the last thing I want is 2039 come around and my brother goes before the parole board and they come on my YouTube channel and they show something here and it gives them a reason to deny him his parole. So I would never ever want to cause my brother any kind of harm like that at all. So believe me, there's a lot more I could get into about what's going on over there, but I just, respect my wishes. You got that. I have a couple more movies set up. I'll probably drop it. Start working on it once I drop this one. I haven't forgotten about the movies. I could run them and run them and run them for quite some time. There's a bunch of them I haven't even started to get into yet. Um, what else is there? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know what else? When reading that paper, or the news or whatever. Can't remember. I remember we were in the kitchen. My mother wasn't quick. She would get the daily news early on in life, but at this point, no. I was almost getting ready to get married, and I remember when they say, "Yeah, mafia, this, that." I forget, man. He was no regular little mafia dude, man. That dude was high up, man. He might even been involved, like Genovese, was it? Yeah, I think he was like up there, man. He was up there. He was up there a lot, man. I remember me and my brother looking at each other at the same exact time, said, shit, I thought that guy was a cop. Like he literally looks and carries himself like an old like homicide detective. Yeah. You would think he's like a retired homicide detective, something like that. Yeah. Or like he would be investigating like organized crime. Like I'm serious. He reminds me of like Joe Coffey or something like that. The cop. Yeah, very like yeah, on point. Very nice guy, man. He really was a cool dude. I remember me and my brother thinking, "Wow!" And at the same time, we both said, "I always thought he was a cop," and we both slapped five. I remember that shit, man. Yeah, I remember that. You guys, my mother's like, "Oh, you guys, just that." I remember that shit, man. Me and my brother, like at the same time. Damn, I always thought he was like a retired police officer, or like a detective in homicide or something like that. Yeah, he definitely looked like he would be like a retired cop, not a fucking mafia guy. We knew nothing about him being involved with the mafia at all. And I can tell you another funny story. My brother used to go out with this girl. She was from like Greenwich Village, and that's really where the horse hung out. Um, yeah, Greenwich Village. All right. The girl I'm talking about's father, my brother's girlfriend's father, was the guy who played in The Raging Bull, the movie The Raging Bull, the referee, the big guy is a referee when Robert De Niro's boxing. And the referee of those boxing matches was actually this girl's father. They grew up right there with this Mr. Ionello, Matty the horse. I remember my brother telling me that, like, when she was real little, like 5 years old or 4 years old or something, 3 years old, little girl and shit, they'd be sitting outside there, a little pizza parlor right before the park there. And she'd be like kicking him, like the father would tell her, go kick him in the balls. Like he was a real fun dude. Like he was cool. Like he was good with kids. He was a cool dude. All right. Yes, I understand he also owned the Stonewall, which started the whole gay movement with the LGBTQT. It all started because of the Stonewall downtown. This guy's very, very important in New York City history. Uh, He also owned the Ravenite, the Alto. No, Alto Knights was the cat. Yeah, that's the cat. I didn't know him. That's the Ravenite. Later on, it became the Ravenite. I didn't know that guy. I don't know nothing about him. The cat LaFour or some shit like that is his name. LaFour. Yeah, yeah, and I believe he owned that building where Gotti and them had that, where they got the wiretaps, and they heard all the conversations with him and whoever talking shit about Sammy Gavano or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm not involved with that, but yeah, this guy owned Umberto's. That's what he owned, Umberto's, which is a clam house that it relocated once or twice, but its original location was where they shot Joe Gallo. Maybe Ionello was there, I believe, when that happened. He saw nothing. Um, yeah, that's about all I could say about him, guys. I got nothing but the utmost respect for him and his family. I wish them all the best. I I could tell you this too. I would say that movie, The Pope of Greenwich Village, with Bedbug Eddie, I would say the closest way is he would be like Bedbug Eddie. Yeah, like Bedbug Eddie was like the head of Greenwich Village, and so this guy was like the head of Greenwich Village. But I don't think he was as low life-ish as Bedbug Eddie was in the Pope of Greenwich Village. It's a movie, Mickey Rourke. I believe this guy didn't carry himself like that at all. He was a very respectable human being. Very nice man. Very nice. I never heard that man even curse. Never even heard him curse. Like I said, I would think he was a cop or something, well, a retired police officer or something. The last thing you would think is him down with the mafia. Good dude, man. Quiet guy. Rest in peace, man.